Aprendimos a quererte desde la histórica altura donde el sol de tu bravura le puso cerco a la muerte.
Aquí se queda la clara, la entrañable transparencia de tu querida presencia, comandante Che Guevara.
Tu mano gloriosa y fuerte sobre la historia dispara cuando todo Santa Clara se despierta para verte.
Aquí se queda la clara, la entrañable transparencia de tu querida presencia, comandante Che.
Yo, I come from me in the stand. I'm in the field and you just sit in the stands. Take that bass out your voice. If you ain't got no gun in your hand, I do what I want. And you don't even do what you can, you do what you told. I got no love for my foes that can mimic my delivery and copy my prose. But what they can't comprehend is how I stick to this code. It's either in you or not. It's not the kicks and the clothes. They ain't cut from the same cloth, can't come from the same loom. Fit in similar shapes or even sit in the same room. Confusing authenticity with part of the costume. I'm teaching gifted children, you can't come in this classroom.
Dare to struggle, dare to win.
Welcome back. For a long time, we know what we've been lost. I think we always trying to find our way back here. We couldn't get here, so it's so good to be back here. How y'all feeling, Yusef? Cherie, what's up?
Good. I feel good. I feel real good. Happy to be back.
Look at you.
Man, I'm fair for a nerd.
Yeah, man. The nerd. You're one of my favorite nerds, to be honest with you.
So, as a compliment.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, y'all, welcome back to Dare to Struggle, Dare to Win. Black Radical podcast. And we are here on Black Liberation Media, where you have all of those other dope shows that you should probably check out whenever you get time, when you get time, so you can get those radical analysis and engage with some dope people. But here, we know that most people on the platform is probably somewhat politicized. So if you can copy the link and share it with anybody you know that should probably have some more radical thoughts, please do that, and we can get into this conversation, man. But before we do, man, like, it's been a while, man. I don't, kind of miss y'all and shit. What's happening, man? What y'all got going on? I said kind of miss y'all too, because y'all niggas be
I know, right? Kinda.
Wow, that was kind of like,
my bad.
I mean, he was talking to you, so it wasn't me. He saw me yesterday, so I know he was
talking
too cute, man. Man, it's been in the whirlwind. I don't know. We've been back since I went to New Orleans for the Rochelle McGee.
One time, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so that and just it's nonprofit shit kicking my ass.
Man, I already tell you, Cherie, what you been working on? I know we was with the seniors last night. We did a movie. What is it? Renters Revolt. It's a 19-minute documentary. But other than the documentary and the things that we did last night, like what you been working on in your personal life or just in general? How you been?
Just a lot, just going through the motions. Shout out to my cousin Scarlett in the chat. I see. But yeah, just going through the motions. I was unemployed for like a whole month. I just accepted a job offer today. So yeah, I'm happy now. It looks like I may have some rent for next month now. So it's always eviction. That was not gonna be a sexy look. So so yeah, I'm happy about that. But other than that, just trying to, get grounded. It's end of the year, trying to make those goals and whatnot, I guess, for things I want to do creatively next year, things I want to do organizing wise next year. So just trying to get clear on the flows of life and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm happy that you have a way to feed yourself and shelter yourself and clothe yourself. So however that do come in the form of a job or whatever else we talking about, it's pretty dope. I I guess my I guess my little thing is like a mix between the both of y'all, like nonprofit shit, like how the nonprofit the nonprofit, what do they call that shit now?
Industrial.
Yeah, there we go. The nonprofit industrial complex, how that is impacting the work that I'm engaged in, but also how that's impacting my mental health and my social emotional well-being. And also like being a nigga here who need to eat and have shelter, that too. So I guess I've been kind of grappling with that. And then I think I told maybe both of y'all, I don't know. I was just talking to Yusef. I don't remember what all we covered. We always like when me and Yusef talk, it'd be like a whole bunch of stuff. It'd be like a month, and then it's like, anyway, go ahead. You.
Right. Now I was gonna say, man, I said women get on the phone. Well, I think we worse than them.
Yeah, I be having a kiki.
Yeah, no, it don't be no kiki though. But my grandmother texts me, be like, yo, I'm 80. So on my little tag, I got matey and son churn, right? Or what grand. We say churn, but grand. So my great grandmother, matey, and then my granddaddy's son, both of them got 9 daughters. And my grandmother is one of the 9. She's the second oldest of the 9. And she texts me, was like, I'm 83 now. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, so I ain't gonna tell you what I'm gonna do to surprise her because she might be watching. Somebody might be watching. Somebody might tell her I'm watching. So anyway, but that just made me, again, reflect on that moment that we was in there with them elders the other night, like yesterday. One of the elders, one of the old elders, like, I don't know if I told you about the story, and he was like, man, let them turkeys go, man. He was trying to hustle the turkeys from the truck. And I'm like, bro, like, but he told me last night he 87. I said, you what? Like, the tall one in there who came in a little late.
Oh yeah, the one that was like late. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like 87, but anyway, so I'm like grappling with, like, I'm 42, he 87, my grandma 83, most people in that 80, 70 and what, and I asked him a question. I said, hey, what were y'all doing in 1955? He said, I've been in the streets. One lady said, I was in 3rd grade. She said, you were in 3rd grade? Oh, I was in middle school. And they all talk about what they was doing in 1955. I'm like contextualizing it because we're in Atlanta. And I said, well, in 1955, there was this economist named E. Franklin Frazier. He wrote a book called A Black Bourgeoisie. And he was talking about how Black people were entering into the world of make-believe. And I'm like, the world of make-believe, the capital of the world of make-believe is Atlanta. And because we were kind of talking around like economics and Black mayoral candidates and all these other stuff, police chief Black. But anyway, that just made me, again, like reflect on stuff. And, I just had an interaction with a mechanic in Atlanta back from where I'm from. And yeah, I had a good day today. So
no, that made me think I gotta ask my mama and my daddy what they was doing in 1955 now. They was here, they was somewhere. So I'm like, I gotta ask my grandma that's 92 what she was doing in 55 as well.
Your mama ain't that old. Your mama gonna?
My mama is 71. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I know she's a baddie, but yeah, she's 71.
Go ahead, Yusef. You about to say something?
Oh man, I sent you a text. Can you pull that up on the screen? Just as we transit before we transition.
Yeah. Let me see how I'm gonna do it. Yeah. I'm gonna just email it to myself right quick.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's less about the person who wrote it, but the subject matter.
Yeah.
I was just curious, folks. Cause I saw somebody else shared it was in my feed.
Mm-hmm.
And
get to it. Right.
She was here. She was here. She was one, but she was here. I just want to ask, because that's a funny question to ask. But yeah.
What people? Somebody else in Mondani. Man, that my we are really reliving the 20s and 30s, bro. Like, hold on, man. I'm trying to see. Did I email it to me? Sorry, y'all. Y'all should talk about something. Don't wait for me. Y'all keeping the suspense. Hold on.
Keep it in suspense, man.
Yeah, I was just saying they were talking about my mom would have been one in 70.
Oh yeah, you asked her about what she gonna be doing. That's all I was saying, like 55.
I'm gonna still ask her what she was doing though. But
my mom was born in 52, so she had to be it wasn't doing too much of nothing.
Too much. Yeah. I'm gonna ask my grandma though. My grandma was doing something because she's 92, so I really want to know if she remember 55 like that.
Nah, these are grandparents. These the grand. I mean, there might be somebody in that in Edmonton not Edmonton, damn, in Heritage Station that is 60, 60 or 70 or whatever. But
she's gone.
All right, so you have if political prisoners like Imam Jamil Alamin, H. Rap Brown, and exiles like Assad Shakur receive as much of an outpouring of support in life as they have in death, they might still be alive. I don't know if I like this already. They might be
alive and free.
They hold more value than just I was struggling reading that because I don't know if I agree or like any of that. But go ahead.
No, you actually, your reaction is mine as well. I think the sentiments it's
the intentions is probably good.
Yeah, but I mean there's no practicality to that. I mean Stalin died from health reasons and things. Also, like our movement is not nowhere near what it is to be able to challenge to have her come back. So,
David.
But also like, so last night we was having this conversation around Black love and some stuff, and we were saying something about like the quality. The measurement of it today. And I'm like, well, how you're measuring it, right? Europeans measured love based off of how many people are getting married or not getting married, right? So if you're gonna say a thing, like you also got to talk about like the measurement. So whenever he says like if political prisoners like Imam or Asada receive as much outpouring of support, well, there was support because there were people who freed her and got her to where she needed to be. So I don't know what the support you're talking. I'm not sure what's happening there, but and then to your extremely beautiful point is like, bro, we ain't free. What the fuck you talking?
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like,
what you come back here for?
And that's like, I mean, I'm all for political prisoners. It goes without saying, and I think that's where Black August for me has taken a left turn. Where man, if you ain't banging for political prisoners, what are you doing? And when has political prisoners jumped over the movement? The political prisoners should be centered within the movement, because ultimately, like, people have been free, but we've lost, and where our struggle has become centered around individuals versus the dynamics of what the goal is. If you talk to people who've been in there. They talk about that. That's the reason many of them have spent so much time in because the lack of an actual political movement, that wording was more about like I saw people like really reacting to it like this. It's trendy thing, right? Like we gravitate to what's sensational, and we're not even using our political. Like your reaction, it was my reaction, but people don't have the political astute to really digest it versus just react to some shit.
Yeah. And Cherie, I love your point, but really quickly, when I was reading that, and Yusef, this is probably something that I learned from you. I read it, and then I had a response, And if I'm interacting with that person, my response can cause us to be having a conflict, or I can respond in a way where we don't have a conflict. Right. The response is like, man, what the fuck you talking about? And I can come that way. Like, nigga, y'all niggas is liberal and all is, or I can be like, oh, okay, I understand what you're saying in terms of like, yeah, like everybody acting like they know Asada now, right? And this that comment is in line with Asada taught me. Asada taught you what, nigga? What you talking about? She taught you. But so if I respond in that way, I mean, like, yeah, man, it is messed up how people wait till you're dead to give you flowers and celebrate them. Like, yeah, I don't know about the outpour support and free and all that other stuff. I don't got to go there because I know his sentiments. His sentiments is, my nigga, why you didn't read her yesterday? You read, she died today, and now you're gonna pick up the book and start reading it. Why you didn't read her yesterday, 2 weeks ago? So so again, my response to him would be the second one as I mature, running around brothers like you. My pre-response would have probably came off saucy, and it was like, because all he was doing was trying to give sentiments of like, y'all, like we've been riding for our ancestors. I mean, our leaders for a while, and then now they dead. They're a caricature for you. You're just something to post and a stimulant to get likes and shit. So I understand where he's coming from. My bad. Go ahead, Cherie.
Yeah. Yeah, I just was thinking to myself, I mean, I get what he probably thought or was trying to do with that, but I guess for me, like you said, you were talking about the actual movement. The overall thing is, yeah, we care and we honor the knowledge, the wisdom, all of that stuff of political prisoners. We celebrate them, well, not celebrate them, but commemorate them in Black August and all those things to bring awareness. But it's not just for the political prisoner like themselves. It's like to call out the contradictions of the overall system, because at the end of the day, it's just the prison system is the issue overall, you know. I mean, and so it's just kind of like the prison system, capitalism, that's, you know, keeps that going. Those are the things. So I'm just kind of like, you know, even if it was like they were on Earth, we championed for them. We were able, Asada was able to come back to, you know, America, which I don't even know she would want. You know, H. Rat Brown able to not be incarcerated. You know, yeah, they would still, those people, even if those things happen, would still be championed. Like, okay, how do we end the prison system overall? How do we, like, it wouldn't be a thing of like, okay, now we're good and y'all got it, y'all, you know, y'all actually did what you're supposed to do. I'm here. Like, that wouldn't be the thing of like, yeah, we did it. It would still be like, okay, how do we, you know, build a new system? How do we end, you know, mass incarceration? It's so much more than that. So I guess, you know, that's what I'm thinking about, where it's like, it has to be an overall movement. And yeah, people are never going to care as much about political prisoners until they actually have a deep issue with the actual prison system, you know? So it's just, you know, I think that's the thing.
That's fair.
Again, I think what we're missing more than anything in our current times is critically thinkers. Like, I think everybody think they're critical thinkers, but to be a critical thinker is to be able to ask the right questions and not worry about the response, things of that nature. And I think that produces the type of political mindset. Like, I love how you framed it. It's not about the individual; it's about the political thought, right? And this is where the personal become political and the political become personal, in the sense of where we focus on the individual and we miss the larger thing. And I think that's even in that quote there. It focused on the individuals, and it makes sense because they're heavy, very heavy individuals. Like the reality, brother H. Rap, you know, his health was deteriorating, right? Right, there was. I mean, they both died for health issues, but the reality, like, we all got our neck, our oppressor had their neck on our backs. Them was a little more different in things, and I think that's the larger conversation that we should have. And I think the ability to attack the time frame that we're in, which is everything's pretty much kind of going trendy in some form of fashion because of social media. Like, that's the issue.
All right. That leads us, I guess, into our first topic. I think, or we could do you want to do like a quick break, or do you want to? Yeah. it kind of.
Throwing copper at the coppers, but I'm shaking like Morocco. Say my prayers with the pistol, serve the sinners with the chopper. All my buddies got it from scratch. My house had Betty Crocker. His mama on D. He ain't even get no shot up. Profit is invisible. Profit come from product. He thinking buffet. He can't comprehend no potluck. God bless the child with his own powder to rock.
Sorry, y'all. It's been a minute since I've done this. Sorry, my bad. We talk about trends. I wanted to talk about this one trend that's just gotten really popular. This hot topic on TikTok. It's called the Danish deception. And so I don't know how many of y'all are that in tune with TikTok, but basically I'll briefly explain. There's this girl that I guess was looking for love or had love in the wrong places for sure, because she is a Nigerian sister that ended up getting bamboozled and scammed by her Danish husband. Scammed her maybe out of $30,000 and maybe everyone around her sister $3,000, her parents some money, one of her close friends $200,000. But got basically scammed and bamboozled by everyone around her, and as in Denmark, by this Danish man. And she called the series where she explained how this happened, the Danish deception. Which I guess started off as like, oh, I'm just going to tell this sad story about how I got scammed, like maybe a Tinder swindler or whatever thing, something like that. But it ended up going to a lot of political discussions about how one was able to, I'll first share the story. You can play this and then I'll kind of get how it kind of gets into some politics.
You want me to play it, or you going to finish sharing the story?
I mean, yeah, you can. I mean, I'll share. I'll finish sharing then, and then we can play the next one because this just kind of gives a summary.
So don't play this one.
Yeah, don't play this one then. I'll just finish it. Sorry.
Okay. Because this one.
Yeah. So basically, this sister, she met a white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired Danish man on vacation, and they instantly fell in love or whatever. Like, I think they met and then he flew her out or whatever. And it kind of seemed like she was going to get into this whole soft life, this Hardwick soft life situation. But it went left when he started asking her for money and kind of making up stories that she did not fact check. And I guess what it's brought up is like people's idea of whiteness. And I think proximity to whiteness is what a lot of people are identifying in this sister, because it's like the way she tells it is, I just was blind in love, as a lot of us have been, and made some blind decisions. But a lot of us are seeing that it's a lot of internalized anti-blackness and proximity to whiteness with this man that kind of caused her discernment to be off. From the way she described, like being like, he was a Calvin Klein model. It just seemed like she had an idea of who this man was and what he could provide because of his proximity to whiteness, that if it was a black man saying the same thing, she would not have taken it as face value, and neither would the family have taken it as face value, because he was saying stuff like he had been in the Olympics. She never fact checked that. He was saying he was somewhat of a prince or a part of the royal family in Denmark. Never fact checked that. Said he owned properties in Denmark. Never fact checked any of these things. But believe pretty much any lie that he was saying when it came to like, these accounts, and I'm trying to get my Denmark account into America. She lived in Dallas, and just basically she believed everything he said. And even after he scammed her, she just looked at it as like, he has a gambling addiction. I need to help. And so that's pretty much the discussion that I was bringing about. You can probably play like the second one, which I guess kind of gives kind of more of the political insight of just like anti-blackness and white exceptionalism that I think she was aiming for.
All right, so I'm gonna play the 1.5 speed because that's 4 minutes. Do we want to play the whole thing, or you?
Yeah, you don't have to play the whole thing, but 1.5 speed is good.
All right.
Racing, which doesn't make any sense to me because a lot of black men and black women scam all the time.
I'm going to open up a hospital for mentally ill Africans. I'm going to hospitalize you. We are not making it about race, but you did. You fell for whiteness as a fantasy object. And that is why you weren't just scammed by a white man, but you were scammed by an entire history that has told black women that white men are princes. In Black Skin, White Masks, Fanon talks about how colonial society produces fantasies where black subjects are pulled toward whiteness as the horizon of beauty, humanity, and recognition. Desire becomes a way of reaching for the advantages of whiteness through intimacy. Your attraction to this white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed man is a colonial desire. For me, it's much more a colonial fetish. You wanted proximity to the figure, the ontological being that society has told you is desirable, is safe, civilized, and most importantly, above you. That's why you were more willing to suspend disbelief when he said wild things, because whiteness is already coded as credible. The blonde-haired, blue eyes is important because you're not just saying, I like this individual. You're saying, I like him because he visibly carries whiteness. In her paper, Whiteness is Property, Cheryl Harris argues that whiteness functions like a form of property, right? It's a legally and socially protected asset that carries presumptions of credibility, respectability, and superiority. And so in this situation, the man's blonde hair, blue eyes functioned as property signs. They were signals that he possessed the value and the trustworthiness that is associated with whiteness even before he opened his mouth. And so your attraction to this blonde hair, blue eyed man was shaped by a structure, a society where whiteness is kind of a guarantee, so to speak. It's a guarantee that made his lies feel plausible. And it helps you to show how the scam works, not only because he was deceptive, but because whiteness circulates itself as a credential that shields white men from suspicion and makes black women more likely to read them as safe, elevated, and prince-like. And I say it's a fetish because here you are over-invested in a visible trait, white skin, brown hair, blue eyes, as if it guarantees an entire package of moral and social qualities. It's kind of a short circuit in judgment. He looks like who you've been told princes look like. And so for you, him saying he's a prince is plausible, because if a black man had come to you and told you he was a prince, you would not be believing that. That's why he can be so obviously scammy, but you let that slide because your desire is doing the cognitive labor for you. And here we could inject some Marx. Marx's whole thing about commodity fetishism is that people treat commodities here, whiteness, as if their value reside in the thing itself and not the social relations behind it, who this person is in society. And so whiteness functions as a fetishized social form. The white man appears to you, Ms. Onyeka, as naturally more valuable, right? His body is read as containing the values that you associate with whiteness. And so you ended up treating his whiteness as a guarantee of the properties that are associated.
Huh?
I was saying you could stop. You didn't have to keep letting it play.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious. I mean, I know I sat and watched the whole 36 part just because I'm messy like that and wanted to hear, her break this down. But yeah, just curious, some of your thoughts. I know it's some TikTok stuff, but it does relate to like a lot of, internal things that many blacks in America and, across the globe, wrestle with at times. So I thought it was interesting.
See, this is why we can't take Leah no way. I'm just saying, saying she's talking about his edge up, had an edge up, and that John is. Yusef, you want to go first? I have some ideas and I can share after yours, but you want to?
I would defer to you, good brother.
So forgive me if I don't really go there, but I'm gonna use some of the things that they say to go somewhere else. So, because after that nigga finished talking, I'm like, all right, nigga, how do we go get power though? Right? Because I've been talking. I haven't been talking. I've been in communication with Baba Amos Wilson some more. Because I was telling AG this. I was like, I used to go to sleep listening to Amos Wilson. I read my daily night was reading something, listen to Amos lectures, going to sleep, wake up, reading, and then whatever. But Amos always talked about how we're afraid to talk about power. And like we talk about all the other things and racism and fear and mad and all this other stuff. And like even whiteness, we can talk about whiteness, but we ain't really talking about power, right? And then how to get power and then what you got to do to engage power. So first I thought about, okay, I'm hearing that feedback, so I might have to take this head off. First I thought about, I'll fix it out there. First I thought about if this woman was brought up into this environment to believe a particular thing, and then based off of that, she has launched her values and desires in something that she was taught to, right? Speaking English and all these other things. And he takes advantage and all these things happen. And ultimately, like, she's a victim, right? Right? And then even if that victim starts saying some political wild shit, like, she's still a victim, even though she's saying some political wild shit, right? And so these people are trying to respond. And a lot of these people are on the left. And they're in organizations, maybe. Online left, I don't know. And they're talking about, oh, girl, you're so dumb. You should have known because... And they go down all this shit that you should have done when they are in organizations where niggas don't get questioned on who they are and how they been for a long term. Like the nigga said Marxism and you're like, oh, he with us. And then, so we're just as gullible as the niggas we trying to critique. Right, so we're in spaces where the idea, the perception, of these people, we just believe it, and we have no fact checking and verify. I feel like Cat Williams when he was. We have no fact check or verification process, even on the left. So if we don't have it, and we so radical and revolutionary, why the fuck we gonna expect her to have a vetting process? And so I just think that's crazy as hell. Because again, you could talk about all this shit and you ain't never talk about power. So my question after that damn video: how we gonna get power, bro? You did good, white people and whiteness, and all right, well, nigga, how we gonna get power? Because after you finish critiquing this person for filth, for making a bad decision, maybe he liked her and she chose the Dutch nigga over you. I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I don't want to cut.
But so yeah, I mean, I know. I'm just telling you, I was gonna take it somewhere else, and that's why I told you I might take it somewhere else.
Okay.
Can I finish really quick?
Oh, my bad.
So I think if we're asking this person to have something that we don't have, we want her to think critically and be whatever, but we have it in this thing, but I don't know we have it in this thing. So it's like, yes, whiteness has a real relationship with power, but there's people who don't have access to whiteness who actually are white. Right? And so I would say, okay, now what? Now what? So, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, in defense, I think the thing that, you know, a lot of people were more kind of like on her for was because as she tells the story, there is kind of blatant like racism with that. And she, you know, even with it, like she described the man for his looks, but then says, you guys are making this all about race. And then she specifically said Black women are being so hard on her. You know, and so I think that's what kind of caused like more of the uproar. And then in a sense, when it came to her being Nigerian, she describes a conversation she had with another friend that she introduced this guy to, that also he scammed him out of $30,000. And she asked this guy, well, why didn't you tell me that he scammed you out of this money? And the white man said, well, you're Nigerian. I thought you were in on it. And when she tells the story, she doesn't tell it like that's an issue that this person she was speaking to said that. She was like, yes, Nigerians are scammy and he scammed me. So I should, and so it's just different stuff like that where people were more triggered by that because it was just like, okay, so now you're literally like okaying somebody like being blatantly racist towards Nigerian people and not even classifying that as racism. And then you're telling us that we're making it about race as Black women, but you only singled out Black women in your critique. So I think there's just those sorts of things that I didn't say earlier. So I did want to add those 2 cents. But back to what you said, I think that what you said is important because it's not just whiteness. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's proximity, whether it be the way a person looks, speaks, talks, acts, all these things that even on the left, we can easily get bamboozled by in a sense and not do further research. We can look at, oh, this person did this person built this school, this person built this program, but we're checking it off as like, oh, they have, you know, access, it's really access to money, but we're looking at that as like, oh, maybe that's signs that like they're a valuable organizer, or they may be well spoken, you know, in front of people and may speak clearly on their thoughts. And we view that as like intelligent because they can speak this English language so sharply. And we put, so it still is a proximity to whiteness that even us on the left, you know, tend to get very, you know, lost in when it comes to trying to evaluate the spaces that we're taking, you know, that we're engaged in. So I hear you on that. I'm sorry, Yusef.
Oh no, you're good. I think Geechee was kind of going down the street that I would like to go down, which is you're absolutely about power, right? I think that's the name of the game. But race, gender, class is so intrinsic in everything that we have to separate those things to get the power. Because some of it's confusing. It's been embedded for centuries, and it's not going to overturn itself. Like we say, race is a social construct, so we shouldn't talk about race. But if it's a social construct, we have to have an analysis around race to deconstruct it. we have to understand the analysis around self-hatred, the analysis around the dynamics of whiteness and anti-blackness that leads to men and women and men, and whatever, to engage in healthy relationships or not or unhealthy relationships is interesting, because within our struggle, the question around, like, can you be a nationalist having a white woman or a white husband? And that's a real debate, a real discussion, and things, and like does love has a character of that nature to it, and really, who are we to debate someone's actual affinity? But then there's terms where your eye won't fool you. You know why she's with that man. You know why he's with that woman. Like those things, just because of the nature of society. So I think taking from the approach of really examining it, and then in this scenario, it's very, very obvious and stuff. And it's kind of like growing up in America, whether black female or black male, you've been poor your life. Here's an opportunity to live a better life. What you gonna do? But this then comes down to, power is one question, but I think the fundamental thing where power comes from is a value system. And and that doesn't matter what your social status is. And I think the ability to construct the correct values, then construct how you live your life and how you want to engage other people based upon that, and whether it's people from your own ethnic group or not.
Yeah, no, I think that's right on. And that argument are always like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And I'm wondering which one comes first, or if power is outside of values and it's the ability to enforce your values on other people. Mm-hmm. So like if you have power, like if you have values, I have values. If I'm able to popularize my values, or I even make you believe in my values, I mean I have power, and it's more of an ontological thing, meaning you don't have to like philosophize or whatever around something that's concrete. Concrete is them motherfuckers speaking English, and English come from them and not them. Like that's concrete. And then the values that come around it, the values are constructed to English concepts that's weaponized to advantage these people. So and I guess back to the point, like what type of culture are we building? And then how do we communicate that culture and enforce that culture? Because again, and there's many ways of talking about power, but I feel like having the ability to enforce, or the ability to inspire and or install is what I kind of would see power is. And then like the values part is like that's on the other side of power. I think I see. So
yeah, and I think in that I feel like the way and I think people are tying into like just the overall culture that we've created about this soft life and and hypergamy and all these things that obviously is a product of the political sphere, and people wanting to always marry up and looking at that as like a way to come up, but also just the way in social media it's all been given, because she was not living the soft life, but she wanted the appearance of like the whole time she's taking all these videos, all these places of like, I'm out with my man and he's, providing me this lifestyle. But it was really her, because she's, the family that she didn't know about that's flooding him all this money and stuff. So I think, that in itself is like a particular culture. I think even with her, she was brought up, maybe it seems like upper middle class to some degree. Like her parents, maybe like are Nigerian, and, they moved here for, worked hard and kind of had that, bootstrap mentality. And then then they looked at the pattern within her family where it's like all her sisters marry white men as well. And so, and so that's, just all these discussions about like what that means. And like I said, the same thing is like, if that would have happened, if that was, if it would have went on as long as it did, which I think is interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot, but I do think the culture of how we when you brought up earlier, like how we view love, what is marriage, and even that is a construct. And I think all of those things definitely tie into just this, crazy TikTok story, that people are analyzing. But we can move on to like something that's a little bit more closer to home, unless you guys had something else on this.
Before we move out, I have a question for Geechee, because Cherie actually built off of it, but you introduced the word culture, which is, I think, is a dangerous word in this time frame because of when we think about culture, it's overly associated with hip hop. Actual middle upper class folks, like, we doing it for the culture. We doing it like so. Can you define what is culture?
Yeah, culture is somewhere in what Marimba Ani calls the Utama Wazo. So, no, actually, I'm lying. Those are 3 parts of the culture. But culture is essentially to enrich a people. Is some type of apparatus, some type of understanding, some type of practices that protect a people, enrich a people, and help the people evolve. That's what it should be for. The thing happens, the power relations normally has the people in power creating a culture that sustain themselves at the expense of other people. So Marimba Ani says, like, cultures have a purpose. They have a germinating seed to achieve an overall objective. So it's like a methodology and some type of theory or whatever to achieve a objective for a people. So the people want to live forever, they'll create a culture to help them live forever. It's like policy, right? And so within that, there's a germinating seed. Like, what is the main purpose of this culture? That's the Asili. The Atama Wazo is the structural thought. How do you create policies to get people to self-actualize achieving that thing? And then there's the Utama Rojo, the life force. What is the deep-seated reason why you're doing it? Is it to survive? Is it because you think you're a minority? Is it because you're a sun god? Like, whatever it is. And I think a culture has all those things in it, but ultimately it is to protect the people and to evolve the people on the people's terms.
Yeah, I think that's a whole discussion right there. I've been having that discussion a lot with people, because I think people, I don't know, because people will say, because I'll ask these questions about culture, they'll be like, you say you're a cultural worker, why are you being so questioning about culture? And I think, like I said, and I think, me as a culture worker, I'm trying to push a particular culture, to inspire radical change, radical revolution, as a cultural worker. But when people talk about culture itself, and they typically leave out like the overall objective or politics of a culture, I'm always moved. Like, I want to ask questions, especially particularly Blacks in America. I think there's a lot of, arguments of like, of like, yes, we have a culture. People say we don't have a culture. And I get it. But I guess for me on the outside looking in, sometimes these arguments that, I get how that's defensive. And obviously somebody saying you don't have a culture, maybe they're trying to possibly offend you. I don't know. So I get that. But I'm always trying to ask the questions of like, why does it seem like people get so emotionally bent out about, Black Americans having a culture? Not that it shouldn't be taken to offense, but the level of offense where like, because obviously that's where a lot of this FBA ADOS stuff came from, is, this whole thing of like, people say we don't have a culture, we do have a culture. So I'm always curious of like, just this passion for this culture that I sometimes see, has mixed politics, mixed objective. And I'm just always exploring the conversations around that. But maybe that's a whole nother episode about culture that we may need to have.
No, definitely a whole nother episode. But I think, and the reason I asked that question, culture produces you to be who you are. In the absence of culture, it undermines you from being who you are. And I think the absence of an authentic culture saw this woman function in the way she functioned and sees us functioning. I think there's for New African people, there's some level of a culture, but we still have not named it and defined it. Like, even as we use the word Black, but Black doesn't express the totality of who we are. Black expresses certain levels of aesthetics of who we are, it is a political terminology, but it doesn't. It still leaves us in the ethos, so to speak. And I think that because of that, this is where we've taken a subculture, something similar as hip hop, and made it a culture, and which is fueled by capitalism, misogyny, and lots of other things. And not to say like all things of hip hop is bad, because it's not. But in the grand scheme of things, when you say a music is your culture, is R&B our culture, is jazz our culture, like these are aspects or aesthetics of who we are as a people.
Yeah. I go ahead. I'll go after you.
I just want to put two quick sentences. One of the things that's funny about this story, bringing it back to the sister over here, she was really proud. Even in the story, she talks about being proud of her Nigerian culture and being a part of some culture group. But in the same breath, she'll say that, but then could easily be like, okay, with somebody being like, yeah, Nigerians are scammers. And then, I think it was interesting, even this picture, she was very happy that this white man was into the culture and could wear the garb and do the dance. And so I think it kind of, to me, talks about like how surface culture can be, where like a person can be so culture, but if there's nothing underneath all of that, then obviously she's in the predicament she's in. Not to say she's not a victim, but it's just thinking about like how surface culture can be to an extent.
Yeah, I think I love that. And then to Yusef points, couple of them. Not that there isn't like, so for instance, there's always going to be culture. Now that we don't have culture that we build for our own, because if culture is a system of these beliefs, thoughts, practice, values that we all share, it's trying to get us somewhere. It has behaviors that comes with the values. And so when the culture is, as I say, those two type of people, you engage to cooperate or extract to manipulate. If the culture is extractive and manipulative, all the values will be in that. So you are developing art expression in that culture. It will be, as Yusef said, a subculture, but it won't still be your own thing, because the utility of the thing that you creating in that culture as a subculture still achieves the same thing. It still convinces, romanticizes, and make people feel that these are the values and things they need to have. So until you actually build your own shared beliefs and practices that get you to your own objective that you want, everything that you create inside that culture that follow those same shared values and beliefs will be that thing. And so like it's almost like, again, the idea of the separation economy, a separate sub economy within a larger economy. Like it's not possible. And that's the same kind of thing with culture. And it's interesting like how hegemony is a domination of all those areas. There's a psychological, economical, and a cultural domination that's happening. And each of those areas that we're dominating, we're staying within it and building something sub of it, as opposed to building something new. So it's like, yeah, like until you be able to name your own culture and develop it in a way where it works for you and it starts to yield the objectives that you want.
Yeah, as we transition, I just want to point out you use one of my favorite words, hegemony, which is a form of culture as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, say more.
I mean, and I think, and it's not even a culture that's directly tied to whiteness, right? It's a culture tied to power, and in particular on related to certain social groups. It could take on the characteristics or insulate that social group. So that social group that we're referencing is white people, right, who have been insulated as a result of hegemony as a dominant force that produces racism, that produces white supremacy. But these are outgrowths of a culture that protects themselves, that breeds exploitation, that breeds oppression. I think, going back to Estada, one of her profound quotes is, and I'm paraphrasing, like, you can't be free until you first recognize that you're a slave, that you are oppressed. That's the first level of freedom, is to free your mind, to free your spirit. And I think, again, as long as and that oppression it looks different for each and every one of us. There's no monolith to how our oppression has taken impacted us And that's where our analysis is somewhat becomes contaminated to everyday people because they've been conditioned to be allergic to that type of reawakening. But that's why when you get awoke, you go through that first stage of rage. And I think also transitioning to this conversation, like always, I'm gonna ask you guys, as we go to the next topic. Do you think there's a difference between a nationalist and a revolutionary, or you think they're the same?
No, I immediately think that a nationalist, according to how I know, I don't think they're actually the same. I think the nationalist thinks he's a revolutionary, or think they are a revolutionary, and you let them tell it, yeah. But I don't think I would say they're synonymous.
Yeah, I mean, you can be a nationalist in a lot of ways. I do think, and technically maybe, I do think revolution it seems more specific to me than that, because you could be a cultural nationalist, you could be a pork chop nationalist, so it's like, you could be all these, you could be, so it's just like, so to me, I think, I think there's some level of maybe revolutionary nationalism that can't exist, but I think the nationalism just as nationalism without specifically trying to like change anything or change a system, but only, because I think sometimes nationalism you can and that's, a lot of the FBA ADOS, they believe that they're national. Yeah, that's exactly. They believe that they're nationalists, but they're not really trying to change any sort of. It's just like a extreme of like, we're pro this type of black and this type of black getting a particular thing, money, reparations, however you want to put it. But there's no actual change. They're not looking to change a system, they're just looking to survive better within a messed up system. So it's like, I think the nationalism can be limiting if you don't have any revolutionary thought with that. It can be very limiting. So
yeah, like plus they're trying to preserve something or unintentionally preserving something, or they're trying to reestablish some type of identity, national identity. So I mean, like it doesn't seem like it would lead to revolution then if you're trying to reestablish something of old and or build something. Like for instance, I remember what Amos said, like, I don't like when people say that when I read and I talk and I articulate it, I'm trying to be and sound white. If you want to act white, you should do what Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad did. Them motherfuckers try to build a whole nation and model it after the other nation. So that nationalist trying to build a black version of what was white, that wouldn't be revolutionary at all, actually. But go ahead, you.
So let's look at the basic definition of revolutionary nationalist. And a revolutionary is one who's fighting to make a total and complete change. And then where a nationalist is someone who's fighting for their particular group of people and who's trying to bring in for a nation. I don't think FBA or ADOS are not nationalists in the totality. They have aspects of nationalism, to your point, of national identity, but they're not at the root of a nationalist. Is someone's fighting for their nation, trying to free their nation. ADOS is not trying to free no nation. ADOS is not trying to construct a building. They're trying to assimilate into a nation.
It won't end, nigga. I won't end.
Yeah, but they're, and this is again going back to the earlier conversation. We had to dissect stuff, and this is where values come into play, and the difference between a revolutionary and a nationalist. Again, a revolutionary wants to wants to eliminate oppression across the world globally, where a nationalist may not necessarily. I ain't trying to free the world. I'm just trying to free myself, and it's okay if that. But ultimately, this where it leads on. Unfortunately, for a lot of nationalists to end up taking on the characteristics of their enemy, because they have not fully developed to the greatest degree. I mean, this is a conversation that Malcolm is entertaining when he goes abroad. After he leaves the nation, he's meeting African leaders, and he's meeting Arab leaders, and from different dissects of color and et cetera. Like when I'm like, so if you're a national, where does that leave me, Malcolm? And Malcolm had to wrestle that question. And that this is what leads Malcolm on his journey as a revolutionary. So for me, I am a new African revolutionary nationalist. So that for me, the revolutionary challenges the nationalists. Because again, this is where the pitfall of the nationalists can be narrow, can fall into a small spectrum of thinking. This is the race, things of that nature, and because of society, it falls within there. But the revolutionary pushed that, but then also the nationalists pushes the revolutionary in terms of because at the end of the day, we know there's specific things that we only deal with because we're new African Black people. Everybody else doesn't experience what we do. So finding that balance.
Listen, pretty soon, Dr. Ashley Farmer will come on the show and we will talk about Queen Mother Moore, her new book. I don't know if any of y'all ever studied Queen Mother Moore's life, but if you compare Queen Mother Moore life and you have her in conversation with Hubert Harrison, you're going to see something. Everything that Yusef just said and more is going to be in that space, and how prevalent it is today. And I am trying to convince not only both of them to be in conversation, but for both of them to come back to Atlanta, because both of them already been to Atlanta, and have a PE with both of them in discussion. And if I could convince Baba AK to come too, we'll have Queen Mother Moore in conversation with Hubert Harrison and Mabel and Robert Williams. And we'll have all three of them on stage having a conversation about their work in their book and how all those lessons of those lives are so prevalent today. And obviously Mabel and Robert wasn't in the 1920s, but they carried on the stuff that Adley Moore and Hubert Harrison, and ironically, both of them had interactions with Garvey movement. Black nationalists, revolutionary maybe, I don't know. And both of them had interactions with the white communist movement and the white socialist movement. And they had, it's crazy how we still at this motherfucker. Same place. Same place, maybe different time, but maybe same time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to not only Yusef, I don't know if you're ready yet, but we're looking forward to how you engage Hubert Harrison. We talked about that before, but definitely Adley Moore, Queen Mother Moore, since she's in the periphery of everybody's history. And for some reason, she was about to have erasure. And I said this to a group the other day, it's interesting that both of those people went through erasure. Ashley Farmer's uncovering it. Brian Corbett has uncovered it. And how prevalent their life is to our life right now. And we don't actually believe that we can be erased off this motherfucker. We always have possibilities of it's possible that we might be a winner in Black capitalists. But I don't think we ever grapple with it's possible that we're not gonna be in this motherfucker. We're gonna be one of my Babas was yo, the it's not the Iroquois. I can't remember the people who the Ohio River named after. He said if you want to know about them, you're gonna have to go see them in museums. I don't think we think it's possible that quite some time soon we're gonna be in museums and be oh, that's how them motherfuckers, don't know African Americans, they was arguing about who they was and what they was, and this is what they used to do.
Hey, Geechee, you made me think of some. So I had Hiram here in Detroit a couple of weeks ago, and we was at this event. So the word Baba came up, and he looked at me you made the Baba, you made the Babahood, huh?
Hey,
We love a good Baba.
Somebody asked you how you grapple with that bear. I mean, but that's how you know that you're a good Baba, because there's very times that I be forgetting, I be feeling we here, and I'm realize, no, this is my Baba. I call him brother, but no, this is actually my Baba. So yeah, you there, but you doing well though.
No, actually, I was looking in the mirror earlier, and I was like, "Damn, this shit it's all great now." It's you look at your pictures and you see the transition. It's not even asking for permission. It's I'm here. I accept it. Yeah. But no, I think I wanted to ask a question though, as you brought up Queen Mother Moore, and I'm curious, just a little, give me a little taste of what is alluded to the erasure of her. Because I think of her in the sense of Queen Mother, not Queen Mother, Ella Baker, very prominent impactful folks, but they never really themselves have pushed themselves to be the limelight. But if you examine and know our history, they've been instrumental in many movements, many individuals.
Yeah. So again, Ashley wrote the book. Ashley did all that research.
Okay.
I've been writing this book. I mean, I've been reading this book like this lady can write, boy. She read like a storyteller, researcher, and so she's gonna do better than I do, but I'm just gonna tell you from my vantage point. And I'm gonna start here. John Henry Clark, we loved, right? All of us love John Henry Clark.
Oh, I think you're gonna go where I think you're gonna go.
Yeah, we love that dude. We loved him so much that he said that Queen Addie Moore was a grifter, a faker, and he compared her to Louis Farrakhan. When he did that, we didn't even do our, as Cherie said earlier, investigation and finding out that, like, who the fuck was she and what. You know why we didn't do it? Because it wasn't as recorded. It was destroyed. And most of Addie Moore's life is excavated in the periphery of studying somebody else, right? You could be like, Benjamin, what's the communist lawyer who won city council in New York? Benjamin Davis? Yeah, Benjamin Davis Jr. You'll study his life and you'll be like, picture taken. Benjamin Davis Jr. is at the deli. And at the deli is a little light-skinned lady in the corner holding up a sign. That's Addie Moore, right? And if you look at a lot of the people's lives, that's what's happening. Like, she's in the periphery. And not only is that Addie Moore, that was his fucking campaign manager. And my nigga, he wouldn't have win if she didn't organize. And so, like, but when she was in those spaces, she was tussling with the motherfuckers. So just as Hubert Harrison, the goal was to not include her or dismiss her in a way, especially if you disagree with her, or especially if she hold that light to your ass. And now she ain't nobody special, right? And so I think on top of all those things, let's not forget she's a fucking woman, right? So that's the more energy of why black, white. And it's interesting. Again, she was a communist, and she was in black nationalism. So black women and men, and white women and men all kind of contribute to the erasure. And because she has her name, when they have who's the nigga who killed the white boy who killed the Communist Party? I'm blanking on his name right now. Not Eugene Debs, but the other one who. In fact, he changed the Communist Party to go after Stalin, CPA, when they came to the CPA, Edward Browder. She ain't really like that dude. But what Edward Browder did when he changed the whole Communist Party to that reactionary shit that was going on, they sent her up there to Detroit because they said Detroit was where communists go to die. So she was in Detroit for a while, like tussling with them too. So she touched every damn thing and everybody, but not in a you're a good person way. Now, like, you say you're a good person, show me you're a good person, my nigga. Like, that's how she was touching people, and it made people uncomfortable. And so it's like, but now she had her contradictions. Obviously, she was raised in a well-to-do family. She had some really bad gender politics. Cherie, you ain't gonna like that. But she was doing her thing in the garden movement. And she was evolving. She lived to almost 100. She was evolving. So, bro, like it. Yeah, I probably didn't do good, but when Ashley comes,
I was already on my order list, but you did great. I mean, I would just add to one thing, just in terms of what I do know about her. Max Stanford, Muhammad Atman, who was a member of RAM. A lot of times when he would go to New York, he would stay at her house, and I believe in one of his books. No, you read a couple. The Black Panther Party before Huey and Bobby's version of Black Panther Party was hatched there in her house in New York with Ram and Snick up under the leadership of Stokely Carmichael and Max Stanford and the boys.
Yeah, but again, that's crazy, right? Because that's how people, like, that's how we know about it, because she was in the pictures. But That's what happened. Like you read Max, and Max said, "Oh, I went to Boo and Mary Moore and Adley." And then you read Malcolm, and Malcolm said, "Oh, I went to Ellie." And they were like, "Who the fuck is that? Who is that person that keep coming up?" Oh, that was her, right? So that's
okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I look forward to having her on and learning, more about her. And I mean, I have a certain grace for people that came up during a particular period of time when it comes to
Born in 1952, 1951.
Yeah, I have a certain amount of grace, when it comes to
you gotta have grace for all of them.
gender stuff,
Everybody's struggling.
Everybody's struggling, but I'm just saying, like my great for that particular era when it comes to their gender politics, I have a extended amount of grace. But yeah, I didn't know if y'all wanted to get into one of these other ones. I don't know if we have time for the other two, but
yeah, we got one more. So we let we got about 10, 15 minutes.
Do you want to do the Morehouse thing or the consumerism thing? Or
don't ask me because I don't want, it's whatever. I'm good on either.
I mean, we can talk about the Morehouse thing because we have, we can talk about consumerism any other show. But yeah, the Morehouse thing happened recently, so I do want to talk about it a little bit because I hadn't seen it talked about on the platform. You can share the first link under the Morehouse Clark thing if it should be describing what happened.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up right now.
But yeah, basically there was an incident outside of a housing that isn't like student housing, but most of the students of the AUC stay there, and it happened a couple of weeks ago. And
one of them got a lock on it.
Oh,
the first link got a lock on it.
Okay, let me check and see if I might have to kind of go into.
And the second link is the video with it blurred out. Is that the one you want?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can see the second one maybe that we can try and see if it kind of, and I'll fill in the blanks and see how much of the story it tells.
So you want me to do the first one is what you're saying? I mean, the second one.
The second one, yeah.
All right. Let me get to this thing. Yeah. So you could just give the context of the campuses, what's happening, and
yeah. So there's a housing that happened. That there was an incident that happened outside of the housing that a lot of the students stay at. Apparently, both of the sister I think might be a Spelman or Clark person, but the girl that was attacked she goes to Clark. She's about 22, and what happened was they were on this shuttle going there. A couple was on the bus. The boyfriend steps on the sister that was by herself shoe or something, and the girl said, "Ouch, can you apologize or something?" It turns into the girlfriend getting mad, being like, "Hey, let's go, let's fight." They end up fighting in front of kind of like where the housing is, and the guys around break it up, but the boyfriend goes the extra mile and starts strangling this 22-year-old girl that's probably like 90 pounds. And like even the other brothers, they had to kind of yank him off of her and like in order for her to breathe, because you see her kind of like jumping for air in the video because she was literally about to be choked to death or whatever. And goes on the video where he's just like, "Call 12, I don't care, I'll kill you," and does all the threats, and that went viral because she then came home and was like, "This happened to me today," and it resulted in like a few days later him getting arrested. Morehouse put out a statement, Clark put out a statement. But yeah, this has brought up a lot of different conversations as well about gender dynamics and the extension of protection and self accountability and whatnot as women and stuff. And and then did the other brothers do the right thing? Should they have really punched him down as opposed to just pulling him off of her? So there's just a lot of different topics about it. But here's the physical thing.
So we're about to play some gender violence and some probably violent language and gestures. So if you don't and can't have that in your psyche right now, please step away from the video or put us on mute. And we'll play this real quick and right there.
I said, let her go. I'm not the one. I'm not the fucking one.
This is Kayla Bryant, a current student at Clark Atlanta University. Kayla says when she was on the campus shuttle, which transferred students from campus to their apartments, she encountered this couple. She was getting off the shuttle and the boyfriend stepped on her foot, so she asked him if he could apologize. The girlfriend then asked her, do we have a problem? Which Kayla says, yes, your boyfriend just stepped on my foot. Can he apologize? They get into a physical altercation, and then the boyfriend starts choking Kayla out and threatening to kill her. Attempting to take someone's life because they asked you to apologize because you stepped on their foot is absolutely fucking crazy. Now, since this video has gone viral, people have been finding their social media accounts and they've since deleted their accounts, but they didn't delete them quick enough. This is Jordan, the girlfriend in the video, who you can hear justifying her boyfriend choking another woman out by saying she started it. According to her LinkedIn, she's a senior at Clark Atlanta University and an aspiring CRN. You bitches are never beating the allegations. The boyfriend goes by Mr. Stay Motivated on social media. If only he were motivated to not be violent towards women, that'd be great.
Yeah. That's just kind of like a brief. I mean, the other one kind of went into more detail, but it's not playing. But yeah, this has just brought up like I said, a few things about, you have somebody that's being like, well, A, if she's a sister and she's by herself, why be so, vocal about your foot getting stepped on? Like as if the girl should not have said anything. A lot of people, I kind of classify that a little bit as victim blaming. Other than another group of people are also saying, well, y'all always say protect Black women, and the guy was protecting his girl. But people are still like, you didn't need to choke the girl out. You could have broken up the fight. And then there's some women that are being harder on the men that were around. But like when that happened, the guy should have, physically punished him for doing that instead of just grabbing it and de-escalating. I think the guys did good de-escalating the situation. But and then it's just also brought up conversations about Morehouse men, and like there's like this thing where they're like Clark and Spelman sisters have a list of like all the Morehouse men who are like rapey and abusey and all these things, which I think I mean, yeah, I don't know, I kind of feel weird about that because like I said, I don't want it to be like, okay, well, all Morehouse men are now being demonized in a sense, and I kind of see that happening as well. Yeah, so I don't know, you guys can give your thoughts.
No, I think this is like a deeper conversation. I mean, actually like a 2.20 of our previous, I remember, episode around gender dynamics, things of that nature. Get into that toxic masculinity thing. Yeah, I mean, like my first reaction was like, why does she need for apology in that sense? But then again, like thinking to myself, like, well, shit, that's her. That's what she wants. She wants an apology, right? But also not having the nuance and the context, like really being there. But whatever the case is, it didn't need to produce a physical altercation to that magnitude. Obviously, like the young brother had some shit going on in his head. Like he needed to get off his chest and decided to be physical with someone that it appeared that it didn't need. But again, I think it's that's just the service level is much deeper and to dynamics to that conversation.
Yeah, I think I wish all these conversations. So you kind of started out like, oh, people back then I give grace, right? And then when you talk about these gender conversations today, I wish that we consider giving everybody grace in the space of having it. Because even if they don't have fucked up gender politics, just asking questions, niggas be scared to ask questions. Like, because there's two women involved, right? And two women are technically doing what they want to do, right? So the other woman thought it was important for her to say, fuck that. I step on you. I'm not going to apologize. And they start beefing. And then the man come in his mind to save the women. Ain't nobody going to hurt. Like, as Yusef said, there's so many things that probably we need to be having a conversation around there. Because like there's in no way should you be trying to choke out or whatever. Like we could talk about that. If you try to pull somebody up, a girlfriend, pull them off air and move them aside or break them up or whatever. And even in common sense security, it's kind of like Yusef said, we wasn't there, so we don't know if it's like the person like grazed her shoe, step on the shoe or whatever. I don't really know what happened, so I don't know what provoked me. Like, you're not gonna apologize or whatever happened. It's just so much happening that I don't really know. But would you ever tell your daughter when it's not even necessary to try to if you could tell somebody it's obviously have something going on, maybe you can. And it sounds like those two girls had history, so I'm not really sure if they live in the same dorm or like, again, I don't know. But if it's somebody that somebody has done something to you, and you know that they don't have any means of changing or whatever, or they don't give a damn what I like, you can confront them, yes, but trying to ask them for something that they won't give you, my thing is just be prepared to escalate for it to escalate. And what it looks like, she was prepared for the escalate because it looked like she was winning, right? And then that's why the dude pulled him off. So I just think there's a lot of things, and I wish that when we ask these, when we have these conversations, if we really want to talk about it or try to figure it out, we give grace for people to ask the questions that they really don't know, or they really trying to, because that question and answer might help them even broaden their perspective to even have the politics that you actually want them to have. I'm mad if you don't have the politics already. So like, yeah, I that's kind of how I see the situation. There's a lot going on there, and I'm still can't wrap my head around it. And I feel like if I text some of the young comrades from the 3 schools, it's like, yo, what the hell happened? I know they all gonna text me some different things. So, but go ahead.
But I think what's common in this, for any place for Black folks in this country, the level of internalized oppression and how that plays out. Like when you've had disrespect all your life, you've internalized that, and it's easy to give out. So, going back to values, right? Like I talk about my documentary, there's a period where, you stepped on the guy's shoe. Like that's like immediate fighting and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But stepping on the guy's shoe, a person, like, is that really that level of escalation? I mean, especially if they wasn't like motherfucker, like just put their whole foot and like grinding on your shit, and you're like, man, what the fuck wrong with you? Like, but the ability to, if I walk away from this, does this make me feel less than a man, less than a woman? Does this, or let's use the real language, does this make me feel like a hoe? Does this motherfucker just hoe me out here in these streets? And these are things, these are another component, and then particularly when you unfortunately, name it, young, the immaturity of things, along with the politicalness to this situation. I think where we need, again, the absence of a movement, which goes back to culture, helps create the type of culture, helps create the type of community, how to be in community. And even then, not to say like we won't fight each other, things of that nature, that still happen, but I think there's a level of de-escalation that happens because of the value system that exists, where, again, I may still have hostility towards you, but it's not to hostility. I'm seeing you as a bitch, a hoe, a dirty motherfucker. Because, again, like, even like I'm out of Geechee, you my brother, but then if I said it and I could switch with me, like, fuck you, nigga. Mm-hmm. Like, one breath I said you my brother, then the next breath I'm saying fuck you, nigga. And when I say fuck you, nigga, like, it's coming from deep down, and that's that. And I had to realize, like, damn, like shit, that's that sleeping cell, that's that sleeping self-hatred that be waiting, like, the Boondock series when that probably talking about the nigga thing, like that motherfucker, he wants to come out.
Yeah, nah, that's real. Go ahead, Cherie.
That's cool. Yeah, because y'all have been going. I didn't want to. Yeah, my
bad. We apologize.
you asked us. You went. You asked. You set us off, and you didn't want us to
go. But yeah. I guess for me, yeah. I guess I can see kind of, maybe in a sense. I think myself, maybe I probably would just brush off, something like that. But then I think when it comes to this girl, based on hearing her speak, I don't know. I mean, and I'm not a doctor or anything, but it seems like, there may be a level of maybe some neurodivergency as well. And then even when she kind of reacts, it's more like, it hurt. She's more like, ouch, like that hurt. Like, more of like a, like a reaction, more to not like, oh, you disrespected me, but like, ouch, that hurts, like say sorry sort of a thing. And then, yeah, and then it sort of escalates to the girl wanting to fight. And I guess that's my whole thing is, I guess, too, maybe like she's not in the thing where she's thinking like, oh, somebody's going to, want to fight me because of like, this action or whatnot. But I don't know. I just think it's a very tricky, that just reminds me, like people say you have to dress a certain way at a certain time. And it's like, yeah, you do, you know, because you're like, I want to be careful. I don't want anybody to like look at me a particular way. But then at the same time, you know, like violence can still happen towards you as a woman, like regardless of how you dress. So I think to me, it just kind of, it feels like a similar thing where like it's more about how women are supposed to behave in a patriarchal society as opposed to like maybe not just have it in you to like want to choke a woman regardless. But yeah, and then I think the woman enforcing that as well is unfair because it's like, you know, if it was just you two, then I mean that shows me that it was a girl on girl thing. It wasn't like the girl tried to fight the guy for, you know, stepping on her shoe, or even the guy originally was like, hey, it just seems like this girl, you know, was the one that on the other end, the girlfriend was the one that invoked that. And based on the stuff, it doesn't seem like they knew each other, but it seems like her and her boyfriend, and that's what a lot of women look at this. Like, if you can choke that girl, then you're probably beating that girl's ass too. And that's why she thinks it's okay, you know?
So one second, because I think that's kind of where that's where I was like losing it, right? Because you said if you could do this, probably this, and then probably this, and so because the first question that came to mind when you said that, because again, I don't know none of them people, and I'm trying to figure it out. But when you say that, like, oh, maybe you could just not choke women, I hear that. That should be definitely true. But in the larger stream of the conversation of who this person is, oh, he's patriarchal or whatever, are we saying that you know for a fact that if a dude was interacting with his woman like that, he would have fight the women or not? Because, for instance, like I lost many people, but my sister lost her son to a dude who thought that her son was in a relationship with his girlfriend, right? And he was there and boom, shot him, right? So in his mind, he's defending his girlfriend, or he's possessed. Now that's some weird shit, but he's doing it because his fucking mind, and he will do that to a woman or whatever. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, I understand, like, we could talk all those things, but can we, is it like we're assuming something like, oh, well, if he done this, then he's probably doing this. And,
yeah,
and
just the defense.
I'm just wondering if it's safe to say that, as opposed to like still labor the point of everything he did and everything was wrong what he did. And when do we get into, well, this doing this and he probably doing this? Because I guess in that situation, because it's a fight between however the fight start, and in his mind, or whatever what people are saying is he's going to avenge his girlfriend. Did he avenge his girlfriend because it's a woman, or he avenged his girlfriend? Would he avenge his girlfriend if the man was there? Because then there where you could be like if the man was doing that, he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have tried to choke out a man. He wouldn't have done like. So that, I guess that's what I'm like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that too. Like, you know, as far as like his reaction to the men around him, like he didn't, like those men still and there was 1 second where the guy kind of got a little rough with them, and it was like, all right, man, but he didn't go for the I'm gonna choke you out too. So it just is kind
right.
of
Yeah, but that's different context though. Like which I'm not saying that whatever, but it's like again, I do think this would be a larger conversation, whatever. But if you're saying like the women, these people are trying to break up a fight, in his mind, this person is attacking his girlfriend in his mind. So in his mind, those two people aren't the same. So again, like if we're judging things off a scientific thing, then it wouldn't be scientific to be like, well, this means that. Because he see those two people as different things. He don't see this person as a threat. That's why he don't feel like he need to attack him. Because wasn't he saying something like, "Oh, they're not gonna let me do this and whatever." So I guess that's what I'm trying to like understand. Like when we can make a point and we could talk about the patriarchy, we could talk about the things, but I feel like when we get to the like, if this is happening, I mean this is happening. I don't know if we have the juxtapose to say.
I think it's the level. It's the level of anger. It's the level of from this to there. Is you go from breaking up a fight to I gotta kill this girl. Like I just feel like that's the level. And it's just like if you go that extreme that quick, it automatically is like, well, what is it like in private then with you and this two girl? And then there's also the other context about the girl having a roommate another girl having a roommate. There was just supposed to be the girl and the roommate. He was pretty much shacking up there, like, staying there. And the girl had to report several times to the building. Like, the boyfriend is here all the time. So to me, it does seem like there's a control happening where it's like the girl is unable to even be like, hey, you don't live here, and now I'm getting complaints. And I could see, everybody, you have your man, whatever, like that's your space. But even after complaints, it gets to the point where the girl has to then exit or leave this place because she can't tell her boyfriend, you can't be here every night, or like, so it just seems like who is controlling. It just seems like very much like, yeah, it's a control thing. And even the fact that like she was so ready, it wasn't even about the girlfriend, but the fact that she was ready to fight over that situation in the first place. And then even after the girl almost died, it's like she deserves it. She starts it. It just, like I said, to me, I mean, and I don't know, but I mean, it's just a guess of like, yeah, it's like, it just seems like if you can be that violent, and that's what people see, that it's because violence, it traces. The same people are like, the way Diddy was violent to both men and women. Like, it's just like, yeah, he treated men a particular way. So you look at, well, yeah, if he did that, then yeah, it makes sense. He probably would try to freaking kill Cassie because he was over here doing that. So I don't think that that's a big jump to me or a big leap,
Yeah. Okay. Yusef, you got anything left or any rapping?
I think this one has been one of the most engaging episodes. I think we went around the globe on tonight.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff.
She almost put you in a headlock there, boy. She
huh?
I say Cherie almost put you in a headlock. She
maybe.
I didn't put it in a headlock.
I said almost. I didn't say you did. You was getting there. I was like,
now you saying black women are violent? Like what? See, you better slow down. Slow down.
That little dragon woke up.
Yeah, slow down. Hey man, listen, we appreciate y'all for Cherie, thank you. That was good. That was good.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
All hell.
Yeah, let's get it. So anything y'all got coming up before we sign off?
I just ordered my Queen Mother Moore book just because of you, brother. So
let's do it.
Catch up with you.
Shout out to African women, Queen Mother Moore and Ashley Farmer, because she did some work for that. So what you got, Cherie?
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm just happy I got a job. I just want to give Geechee his props for leading yesterday's meeting with the elders. He did a really good job at like pointing out contradictions without people getting offended, but like making it a really strong learning environment. And yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to that.
I have a question for Lee. Being, not just in general, to be a good organizer, does it also mean to being a good facilitator?
You funny as hell, bro. Answer that shit. You funny as hell, bro. That's my nigga right there. That's my guy.
That's an inside.
Inside jokes. No. Yeah, so yeah, what I got going on. What are we doing something? Oh yeah, so yeah, we I was nominated in the community for this some type of, so I forgot the name of it. The Pittsburgh Neighborhood Association. Like my job would be in fact, I think it might be the Smile Captain. It's not really, but my job will be like making sure the community is having access to this decision-making body, and then making sure the communication flows, checking in with people. And so that's coming up this Saturday. I think there was supposed to be a vote, and people, and it's a board like community position. So I'm kind of looking forward to what that space is gonna be like. There's a lot of interesting things that's happened so far. And then I'm a week away from my vacation. I got to get out of Dodge for a little while. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to going to see my grandma now, and grand auntie and them. And yeah, these readings, man, that's all I got left. That's all I got.
All hell Geechee the organizer.
Nah, bro. Nah, I ain't.
No,
I don't
he's
do
good. Y'all gotta see him like when he's in his.
that. Listen, the reason why y'all need to go ahead and stop because all this was curated, and I'm telling y'all and y'all friends, and we cool and like with the right PR, this can also still be twisted.
Very, very, very performative.
Yeah, this is the right PR. This who's to say who? Anyway, man, listen, we appreciate
I needed this tonight. Thank you guys. See you guys next week. Back, same bad place, bad channel.
Yeah, man. We over here on Black Liberation Media, and we appreciate y'all. So see y'all next week.
Peace.